I'm George. Wanted to give a kind of a quick clip on how to insert the sensor transmitter for the Dexcom 7 Plus. My most recent one expired after 7 days, as it should, earlier today, and so I decided to come home today at lunch and record the step-by-step process that I take in putting it on my arm. Today I'll do the arm. Sometimes I do the upper thigh and sometimes I do the stomach as well. But I hope you find this helpful. First, I will point out that what I've done is, you can see I used a rubber band because when I took the Dexcom sensor off of my body, when I removed it after it expired, this is not replaceable. I mean, you can replace it, but you're not supposed to throw this away. You will have to spend money to get Dexcom to send you another sensor. And I found over a couple times of having not kept good track of it, over an hour or 2 hours, or even a day, if I haven't installed another one on my body yet, I have a hard time finding it. So what I've started doing is, as soon as it expires, I then take a rubber band and put it on the back of my device. And here is what you receive in the package, and to insert the actual sensor, the piece that takes the blood and then transmits it through this device to get here. So this thing, it can be useful, but I have stopped using it. Some people like using it because it will help take some of the pieces off. It seems pretty complicated, and it is at first understanding it, but I don't really find that there's much of a need for it. But I would understand if other people would find a good use out of it. So I start off just keeping it like this. And this tab back here, I make sure I don't remove that yet. And I'll show you what I do. So today, I wear a suit every day to work. So I find that using my arm is typically the easiest thing to use. So that way I don't have to go through a much longer process of going into a restroom to then put it on my leg. Because here I'm able to just roll up my sleeve, and I will use this part of my arm, this back part, and insert it somewhere around here. And I don't necessarily have a great view, but it certainly is good enough. Sorry, I've got a couple dogs here in the meantime. I try to go ahead and get this first before I actually mess around with, well, I guess you really can't either, messing around with the Dexcom device. This doesn't come into play until after we've successfully clipped this in. So now that I've taken these adhesive pieces off, I will then prop my right leg up as I'm sitting down in a chair. You can do it on a couch or on your bed, but one way that I'm sure a lot of you all, if you have taken shots using syringes, I was taught when I was 9 years old, it helps to prop up your leg. So then that way you have a way to extend the fat that you would have on the back part of your arm. Otherwise, just having it like this, your fat will sag down. So here, I'm able to kind of prop up the back part of my arm to where I can reach it. And then, I haven't found that it matters which way you aim it, whether it's this side or whether it's that side. It really hasn't, that shouldn't make much of a difference at all. So go ahead and I first make sure the adhesive is sticking properly. Most importantly, that is what's going to protect the device that, I don't even know if it's a needle, whatever it is that goes into the skin. If that adhesive isn't on there right, it can, if it's on there loosely or if it folded somewhere, a lot of times I've found that it will have more give. And what I mean by that is if I'm walking around and I somehow hit the arm on the ledge of a chair or something, the actual transmitter here can lift up enough to where that needle will be removed from my skin, and then I will get an alert on here. So, like I just showed you, I make sure first and foremost that that adhesive is on good all the way around. So you can see I've got it pretty well laid out. That's about as good as I could hope for. And it's going to stand there strong. That's why I'm not worried about it being falling off. So when I do this, I'm going to do it quickly. I don't like spending too much time with that injection part. So there we go. So now I push the white part down, and this lever part helps you with the leverage. I squeezed them together so that way they collapsed, and in that process I now was able to insert that needle. So then from here I then have to pinch with my fingers these two areas here, and I don't know if the video will be able to pick it up, but I'm just kind of showing you how I'm pinching it. And by doing that, I'm loosening up this device, which I'll ultimately throw away. So let's see if I can try make here, and then so I've gotten pretty good at doing it with one hand, so I use my finger and ring finger to remove it as I use my pointer finger and thumb. Obviously it's a lot easier when you're not doing your arm and you have use of both hands. I would recommend, if you don't know how to do it like that on your arm, but you'd like to try it, I would get a friend or a spouse or a girlfriend or a parent, someone to help you just remove it. They don't need to freak out. You can just tell them, I'm going to squeeze it, or if you could just show them how to squeeze those tabs. And I'll show you again here. Those tabs are right here that I squeezed. Delete this, delete this, delete this. What? Okay, so I've got the Dexcom sensor here now ready to be installed. And you'll see this flap right here. I don't really know what all is going on in there, but I know it needs to be there. And the way this is shaped, just through trial and error, you'll be able to see which way it's supposed to go in. This little area is supposed to get tucked in right there. And you're not supposed to be able to clip it in, or you shouldn't. It won't. It might mess up what the needle is doing inside your arm, or might bend it. So this is where this piece comes into play. So if you can see how I've got that lever behind it, I will then use it to help snap it into place, and you should be able to hear it. And there it goes. So now taking this thing out, you have to twist it. Again, something easier to do when you have both hands. The issue is, as you'll see, if you just twist it by itself, you're going to twist the whole thing together. So you typically need to have one hand holding it stable and the other hand just twisting it, and it will come off. That is something that I would say is okay to force, even though the first few times kind of freaked me out. There you go. And I removed it. There's nothing that broke, even though sometimes I remember when I first did it, I was worried something snapped off, but nothing broke, and now it's in there nice and tight. So I'm good to go as far as that's concerned. So I can go ahead and button up my sleeve. this, I will then turn it on, which it is already on. And you'll see it grayed out like that. That's normal because I haven't actually had it in use in the last 3 hours, so there's no records. I go to the menu. This is the first page, and I'm going to scroll down just to where it says Start Sensor, and then I'm going to select OK. And then it says starting, and I set mine to where it won't make any noises. I only have it vibrate. So I will now have about 3 hours until it will request a blood sugar reading. It's between 2 hours and 3 hours, so it usually doesn't take a full 3 hours. And it requires 2 blood sugar readings to then start the calibration. So you'll need to get another monitor, which I use a Freestyle, and with that I'll then take 2 tests, one maybe 134, one maybe 139. They may be even further apart. And then after I enter those, it will then start off checking my blood sugar every minute and a half or 3 minutes. I forget how often it does it, but that's my quick take on how to install a new sensor in your arm.